Hey everyone, it's Michael. I hope you're doing well today, and I want to talk about a film that I almost ended up waiting off on reviewing. I really wanted to rewatch it though, but I thought about reviewing the whole series. I decided not to do that right now. And that is the 2015 sequel, not remake, sequel of Vacation, National Lampoon's Vacation. Now, before I even get into this, let me briefly talk about the franchise, because I may not review all of them. I don't know. I can't really bring myself around to do it. So just as a quick brief recap, I grew up on the original film with Chevy Chase, National Lampoon's Vacation from the 80s. It's a classic. Who doesn't love that film? It's brilliant, it's funny, it's clever, it's John Hughes, right? And I love Chevy Chase on top of that. Well, then the second film, I absolutely hate. European Vacation, total dog shit. Matter of fact, this series of films only has two that I hate deeply within me. One, people completely forget even exists, and rightfully so. But let's move along. After European Vacation totally crapped the bed, you had Christmas Vacation, which I think is one of the best movies ever made. It's almost my favorite comedy of all time. It is pretty much my favorite Christmas movie now, and the weird thing is, I didn't grow up with that movie. I mean, you could argue I did, but I didn't see it until my film studies class in my last couple of years of high school. And I'm going to tell you, that movie blew me away. And I didn't know it existed. I had heard people joke about people's houses looking like the Griswolds. A matter of fact, some people used to say that about my grandfather's house where I lived back in the day. But I would hear this all the time, and it never occurred to me that they were talking about the same Griswolds from Vacation, the National Lampoon's Vacation. And I didn't get it. And I had never seen Christmas Vacation until I became a teenager, many years into my teenagehood. And I loved it. I'm not kidding, it's like in my top 10 favorite films of all time. I adore it. I watch it so many times every December, you have no idea. So moving along to, I'm not sure which is the actual fourth movie. There's like 6 in this franchise. I'm going to assume the next movie is Christmas Vacation 2, which Chevy Chase is not there. The only people you have for that, as far as I remember, are Cousin Eddie. Cousin Eddie comes back. I cannot remember the actor's name right now. You know him. It's Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation. He's back, and the wife actress, as far as I remember, is back too. But it is so bad. I've only seen it one time, and it was like 10 years ago. And I hate it so much with my entire body and soul, you have no idea. And then what I think is the next to last before this Vacation reboot is called Vegas Vacation. And everyone seems to hate it. I actually think it's decent. I haven't seen it in a while, though. It's been like probably 7 or 8 years since the last time I watched it. It's not the greatest, but I like it more than European Vacation and Christmas Vacation. And I'll argue that point till the day I die. From what I remember, there was more slapstick and clever humor in that than European Vacation had in its entire body, you know? So anyway, let's get back to the 2015 reboot here. So this movie essentially is about Rusty Griswold, played by Ed Helms. He's married to Christina Applegate from Married with Children. And they have a couple of kids, one of them being the awful Jimmy Olsen from the new James Gunn Superman movie. And their marriage and stuff is just kind of, it's not a bad marriage, it's just Christina Applegate kind of wonders if she's not doing the best in her portion of the marriage. And she's kind of taken Ed Helms for granted, and he very much in the Chevy Chase fashion, in a respectful way, by the way. He wants to just take his family to Wally World, where his dad took him all those years ago back in the 80s. And the kids don't care about doing this. It might be cool, they have a new roller coaster and stuff, but it might suck, and it's going to be a road trip in the car, a very long road trip, and the kids aren't sure how they feel about it. Ed Helms is pumped to do it, and Christina Applegate's kind of just excited to do something new. Apparently they just went to the same cabin every year for decades now. And so she just wants something new, while also not trying to take her husband for granted. And so this is a road trip film, obviously, and people say it's too much of a total soft remake, you know? But I would say even with that, and even with a handful of jokes in the movie reliant on you seeing the original film, not all of the old ones, but at least the first one, and it has little references at one point with photographs of all of the actors and actresses of the old films, You've got to understand, I think this might be, like, tied with the original for me. I love this flick. I saw it in the theaters. I was the only fucking person in the movie laughing when I was sitting at the theater. I think it is so special and fun. I think when it came out, it was right before. It was 2015. It was right around the time when movies and TV shows began to be infected with politics. And 2015 was a solid year for movies. You had the new Star Wars film. You had a lot of stuff that came out that year. People forget about it. And I still think this is one of the best things that come out of that film. Matter of fact, in hindsight, I think I like this more than I like Force Awakens, to be honest. This film, again, even with those handful of jokes that are tied to the original film to continue gags and whatever from that, aside from it expecting you to know that movie to understand some of those jokes, I would say like 95% of the jokes in here, you don't need that. A lot of it's personal conflict, but it's over-the-top humor, just like Vacation always had. This feels like one of the best Vacation sequels ever. I understand people love Chevy Chase and they wished he had been here. It's still good. Ed Helms, he's not trying to do Chevy Chase, but he is trying to mimic that National Lampoon's way of writing Chevy Chase breakdowns and stuff sometimes. And it works. It works in my opinion. I'm a big Ed Helms guy. I wasn't even in love with him back at the Hangover days. It was The Office that sold me on Ed Helms. And I just love him. I think he's just a genuinely funny dude. Christina Applegate doesn't get a whole lot of jokes to work with here, but her character work gets a lot to work with here. So she's good. Now, the two sons, right? You have like a teenager brother who's really gentle and poetic and weird. And not poetic in a dumb way. He's just kind of, like a lot of teenagers. He carries all these diaries and shit. And then the younger brother, who's like maybe 8 or 9 or 10 or something, he bullies that older brother. And I'm not even joking when I say bully. Like, he beats up the older brother. He makes him feel stupid. He's always saying jokes about, like, do you have AIDS yet? And stuff like that. Like, it's really mean-spirited, but it's really funny. It's really, really well-crafted and funny. And I think that kid, I'm surprised he did not do more in movies and stuff when he was at that age, because he's genuinely funny. He is genuinely funny. And even the guy from the Jimmy Olsen role in Superman 2025, he's kind of cringe sometimes here, but he is giving a good performance for what the script wants him to do. It's the cringy moments are coming from the script writers and what they want him to do. So there's a difference there, But as far as the family, I find them super likable. I find them really funny. And the stuff they encounter on the road trip going to Wally World this time, it can range in so many different areas of being too much like the original, but also doing its own thing. For example, there was a fake car that was built for this movie that's a very National Lampoonsian way of doing something for a vacation film. There's a car that they have that's a total weird-looking car, like it has mirrors on both sides of the front and back of the car, literally pointing at each other. So what would you even be looking at if you're looking in those back mirrors too? Well, later on you find out. And like the key fob for this car, it's a very European looking car. This key fob for this car has, no joke, like 100 buttons on it. And they don't know what any of them mean. They rented this car for the trip because it's a real big, spacious van type of car. And I'm telling you, some of the shit that happens, like this one particular situation where where there's a particular button they hit when they're in a panic on a street, on an interstate, trying to get away from a tractor trailer, because the youngest son gets on the CB radio built into the car and accuses truckers of being rapists and pedophiles and stuff. The trucker gets mad and starts coming after them. And they hit a button and something happens in the car. I don't want to tell you what it is. And this film is not even really that raunchy. It's just kind of a funny, like, if you have a family where it's you and your wife and you have a few older kids, like late teens or adults or whatever, and you're just going out to see a movie together, this is the kind of fun movie you want to see together. It's funny. It's so fucking funny. It's filmed in a great way that makes it feel like that summertime feel. Not as much, but pretty close to what the original Vacation movie has. And I really like that. They go back to locations like the Grand Canyon. They went to in the original film. They didn't get to see it that much because of the ant dying. But they actually go there. And Charlie Day has a really fun character in this film that I feel like would be frowned upon in current pop culture and movies from the weirdos on like Twitter and shit. But this movie, it just has so much to offer. It is genuinely funny. My wife does not watch movies, right? She just doesn't. She's not a big fan of movies. I've talked about that multiple times on the channel. We've been watching a lot of rom-coms and stuff, and I decided to throw this in to have something different to watch. And she put her Kindle and her phone down and was watching this film because she was laughing so much at it because it's such a good time. And if you're not one of these types that are attached to the original film like it's some kind of idol, and you defend it in a way that you cannot appreciate anything except for Christmas Vacation, which obviously is better made than this. But point is, this 2015 Vacation film brings a lot to the table. It's a fun flick. I would argue that it's pretty special, and I think it is one of the most respectful sequels, remakes, soft reboots, whatever you want to call it, that I've ever seen. I love movies, I love comedies, and like I said, I grew up on that original Vacation film. That's the one that it's really trying to bring so much more love to, and I think it does a great job. Obviously, Ed Helms is not Chevy Chase, but Chevy Chase is in here. Beverly D'Angelo is in here, and I was really thankful for that. And I'm telling you that because they're in the credits at the beginning of the movie. They're only in it for like maybe 5 minutes. But the point is, they were still really fun here. I love it. I think this is such a good flick, and if you have not given this a chance, everyone that did not want to see this in my personal life that I recommended it to and begged them to watch, whether it be my mom, my dad, whoever, all the people who grew up with the original film that I have recommended this to and begged to finally watch it or got a chance to watch it with them, they loved it. They thought it was super fun. Not as good as the original one. Obviously, I'm not saying that. The original has John Candy, for God's sake. You have nothing close to that here, despite all the different actor cameos that are in this movie. And people you'll know, for sure. But it's still funny. It's still really well made. There's a lot of great stuff here. So anyway, that's all I have to say. I wanted to rave about this film for so long, and I wanted to rewatch it for so long, because it's just so good. And now that I'm older, the first time I saw this, I would have been... Let's see, I'm trying to do the math here. I'm really bad at math. I would have been 20. So I don't think I had taken like a vacation trip on my own yet, like where, it's me and my wife, not me and a parent, right? Where I'm in charge. I didn't drive when my mom and I used to go on vacations, or even my mom and my grandparents and I. I never drove on those trips. But like, now that I'm older and I've been on a lot of trips and stuff where I'm doing most of the driving, or my wife and I split the duties, or I'm planning out with my wife, like the cabin we're staying at or whatever, there's a whole new appeal to this movie that I think doesn't get the appreciation it deserves, just like the original one does for me now. So it's special in that regard, I would say. But again, when I went to the theater to see this movie, I was the only person in the theater laughing, and I heard people for years shit on this movie. I just don't get it. I don't understand what people don't like about this flick. I think it's one of the best sequels ever. In comedy, at least. So anyway, what do you think about Vacation 2015? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Where would you rank out these movies? Where would you rank this one within your ranks of worst to best? I'd love to hear all that down below too. Anyway, thank you all, guys. God bless you again. Catch you later, and goodbye.